Okay, it's Dan here on the Mike James Rock Show, and I'm joined by, well, introduce yourself, Jack.
I'm Matthias from Turisas.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too, Jack. How's it going?
It's good. We just came over from Europe where we did 17 shows back to back. And
17 shows back to back? Yeah. That's insane.
And had our first no-show day yesterday, and now we're starting the UK tour here. Five shows in the UK.
Oh, brilliant. And is the UK treating you well so far?
Yeah, I mean, we had the best weather yesterday on the whole tour, so it was pretty surprising. No, it's kind of cozy and homey to be back here, because we've done so many tours in the UK that it's sort of, it's kind of a different vibe. Okay. So everything is a bit more roughed up than in Europe, but I kind of like it in a weird way.
Excellent, excellent. So you guys are touring the self-titled album at the moment?
Yeah, we have a new album that came out in August. It's called Turisas 2013, and yeah, that's what we're touring on, playing some new songs, but also we're playing also some old songs that we haven't played on the tours in the past, so it's kind of a mixed set actually.
Excellent, so a little bit for fans to get into then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, and on the new album, is there any sort of fan or band favourites that have come out since you started playing it?
Out of the new album songs, well, we did a music video for a track called 10 More Miles. But it's the whole album it's a bit different than what we've done in the past, and of course, like now when we toured in Europe on a kind of, what do you call it, like a pagan metal package, and playing some more proggy songs, it was sometimes a bit icy reception from the drunken Germans. But I think it's those kind of things that you just have to go out and play, and I think when people experience the new songs live, they'll also kind of maybe get a better idea what the band nowadays is about.
Okay. I was reading over sort of your Facebooks and various different online ways of getting information. And the term folk metal seems to get bandied around a lot. Do you guys like being referred to as folk metal, or is it more of a dislike these days?
Well, it's kind of a weird name, because it doesn't really. We don't personally feel that we have that much folk in our music. Maybe when we started out, we had an accordion, and we still have the violin in the band nowadays, but it's more used like a lead guitar. Most of the violin stuff is kind of distorted, overdriven, kind of lead guitarish sounds, and not any kind of folky violin melodies really. But even if the name is kind of corrupt in a way, I still think that most of the fans of folk metal have a pretty good idea what it stands for and what it means, so we're kind of fine with that.
Okay, cool. And you guys have a certain look, shall we say. Where did that sort of come from? What was the idea behind the black and the red and all that sort of jazz?
Well, it's kind of funny when you look at it now and how the band sounds nowadays, but when we started out, we kind of felt that we were coming from that sort of black metal background, and at that time bands were still doing all the corpse paint, the black and white, and all the spikes and all that stuff, and we just felt that our music even back then was still different than the black metal bands, but we wanted to keep the sort of same visual aspect to the band live as those bands had back in those days. And it kind of started out from just sort of using small splatters of blood and some dirt on our faces, and then when touring it kind of gradually grew to that sort of face paint, the sort of iconic Turisas face paint.
Yeah.
But it's nowadays it seems it's such a big part of the band, like visually and the image and the brand of the band, that it's kind of weird actually how it was never really planned in any way. It was just something that started out, and even on our second album we still did some photos and some stuff completely without the makeup or anything. So yeah, it's been a very sort of natural, unplanned progress, the whole.
And are you still enjoying doing the whole sort of making sure there's appearance to what you do, and as you say, having an iconic look as well?
Well, to be honest, there's not much enjoyment in all that crap on your face, but I think it's, having toured with the band so long, it's become such a big part of the band that it would be very weird to go on stage without the paint or play a show without the costumes or whatever. It's part of what we do, and it's definitely part of the live show, and you see fans coming to the shows with painted faces and they're all into it. So at the moment we don't have any plans to be stripping that off anytime soon.
Okey-dokey. Bit of an odd question now. If you could have been the soundtrack for any battle in history, which one would you choose? You could choose, I don't know, 300 or something like that.
Soundtrack of a battle in history. I don't know, Waterloo.
Waterloo, okay, excellent, that's fine. What are your plans for 2014?
Well, we're going to be probably touring in Europe next year again, and we're sort of working on that right now, so we don't really know for sure. Definitely going back to North America, because the album came out in August, so this autumn sort of kept us busy in Europe and will keep us busy here. And next year, then hopefully US, another European tour, obviously summer festivals coming up. And it's also going to be the sort of 10-year anniversary since our debut Battle Metal came out. So we'll see if we come up with something sort of special connected to that somehow later.
As you said, you're approaching 10 years now. And are there any gigs that have stuck out in your memory as that was the one that you really enjoyed playing? That was not necessarily the best, because we find that normally there's too many to pick from, but is there one that particularly sticks in your memory?
I think the thing of a good show for the band and a good show for the audience or for your career or whatever, it doesn't always sort of correlate in a way. So you might have the most awful show on stage, but people loved it and it sort of took the band somewhere, or you might really have a great show and the audience didn't really care about it. So, but usually it's the way that we are very sort of critical of our own doing, and we might have a bad time on stage, but still, you know, all the fans loved it, so it's still cool. But I think, well, obviously the first Download festival we ever did in 2007, I think. Our second album had just come out, and we were opening the main stage at like 11 AM or something, and it was pretty massive. It was probably the biggest show we ever done up till that point. Like obviously main stage of Download, it's massive crowd even at that time of the day, and we only had like 20 minutes or something. But it was sort of one of those things to remember when you sort of have a load in at 7 in the morning. Excellent,
excellent. And we've been asking the same bands all year the same question, is what does the mosh pit mean to you?
Well, when I go to shows, I'm not sort of the guy in the mosh pit, really. I'm the kind of guy who stands next to the mixing desk and sort of listens carefully and doesn't really interact. But when you're on stage, obviously, like when you see people going crazy to your music, it's you know, of course, great. Like now we came from Germany, and they sort of got really careful about, you can't really encourage people to do, you know, mosh pits or that kind of stuff because of, I don't know, getting the venues into trouble if something goes wrong or whatever. So we can't really, you know, push people to do that stuff. But I think that no, it's in general, I guess any kind of interaction from the crowd is something that makes us perform much better than when you have a more of a sort of easy, silent crowd. It's kind of more difficult to play for them in an energetic way. So it's always like a kind of team play in the way that when you get a very, you know, energetic crowd, you'll sort of push more yourself.
Almost like giving yourselves fuel to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for taking a couple of minutes to speak to us. It's been awesome.
Absolutely.
Cheers, Phil.
Thanks.